Schools will now move forward with a plan to evaluate whether or not to reopen this fall. Kirk Kolb, Superintendent of Grants Pass School District, joins me now. So Governor Brown says the rate of positive COVID-19 tests needs to remain below 5% for schools to be safely held in person. Do you think Josephine County can actually do that?
I believe we can hit that curve. We just need everybody to be practicing all the recommended safety measures of distancing and hand washing and all of those things. So I believe we can beat this thing.
I want to take you back to Governor Brown's press conference when she was announcing these new metrics for schools to safely reopen potentially in the fall. What was the first thing that was going through your mind?
Disappointment, for sure. Felt like we had a good plan going in to bring kids back and see them every day. But we're not starting at ground zero or square one right now. This is something we knew we had to plan for, so we feel like we're on good track to be able to do what we need to do.
How do your teachers feel about what she announced?
Say again?
How do your teachers feel about what she announced?
I think there's relief by the teachers. For some, I know many are disappointed. They want to see their kids really bad.
Does this throw a wrench in some of your plans? Where do you go from here?
It doesn't really throw a wrench in it because, like I said, we've been preparing for it. Where we go from here now is orienting parents and families and teachers to new digital platforms, to new ways of learning. The expectations for distance learning are considerably higher than what we experienced last spring. So a lot of work to do on our part in preparing staff.
You did a lot of the distance learning, that which you're probably going to add to in the fall potentially. Where do you think you can improve on what you did in the spring to kind of build upon in the fall?
So we'll have more synchronous learning, face-to-face time with kids, digitally, remotely, virtually, however we want to call it. So there will be a lot more of that. The tools that we have are going to be much more user-friendly for teachers, parents, and students.
I want to ask you a pretty tough question. Do you feel like students are going to get the same learning that they would be in a classroom?
That would be a hard thing to say yes to, Adam. This is so new for everybody on all fronts. And so there is nothing that can replace FaceTime with a teacher and the connection with peers in a school. So I would have to say no.
Are you going to be able to have any sort of one-on-one, face-to-face conversations at all? Maybe try to set up some meetings for those kids that may be struggling?
There are some exceptional reasons for which we can do some limited in-person connecting. We see that as going to be necessary to some degree.
What about some of the kids who potentially can't afford, computers? Those necessary stuff you can do to be able to distance learn from home. What about those kids, those families?
So we will be checking out devices to anybody who needs them. The real concern is those who don't have connectivity. And so we're working really hard to problem solve that. We're seeking out grant funds and working with local cell providers to see what is available. So we know we got to get them connected.
Have you reached out to other districts in the past couple of days to kind of figure out what their plan of attack is now moving forward after Governor Brown's press conference?
Yeah, in the recent days, we've had a little bit of email communication with each other. We have been meeting at least every 2 weeks with all of the Southern Oregon superintendents to compare plans. For us here in Josephine County, we have a strong partnership with Three Rivers School District, so I believe our plans are going to align very similarly.
Where do you go from here?
Where do we go from here? Keep putting in the hours with our team. Our administrative team comes back next week and getting those individual buildings ready to go to support our learners, support our families, and it's a lot of hard work between now and then.
As the superintendent for the Grants Pass School District, what is your message to those families out there that may be a little disappointed that their kids are not going to have that face-to-face interaction potentially this fall?
So my first message is we miss you. Every one of our educators misses you, our students and our families. And your safety is our highest priority. So we need you to do your best in public, in your home, whatever it takes to beat this thing and get back to school with us.
Kirk Kolb, Grants Pass Superintendent, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Adam.